Fantastic. All right. So I've muted everybody. We're going to go ahead and start. I want you to sit on something, whether it's a block, a blanket, a pillow. I don't care. Just elevate your pelvis. And then I want you to actually take the opportunity to sit. Well, I say this every week. I know I say this every week, but I actually want you to do that today because we're going to focus on this idea of how do we give ourselves permission to be present. Our focus is anatomically on this whole idea of opening the heart space. But it seems that from a psychological perspective, to actually open the heart, you have to be present. You have to know the things that cause you pain, the things that cause you pleasure, the things that you're kind of ambivalent about. And so we're going to take a few moments at the very beginning to just do that. So you can go ahead and close your eyes or soften your gaze. And then notice where it feels like you want to plant your hands. And ideally, you're trying to find a spot where it feels like there's no efforting in terms of how you have to hold them. They just sort of, the arms drop out of the shoulders and the elbows just reach down, and then the arms reach out of the elbows. And then notice what's going on up in the shoulders. Do you feel like you need to circle them a little bit? Does it feel like there's maybe some tension on one side of your neck versus the other? And then start to check in. What's happening maybe around your mouth? Does your mouth feel like you're clenching things? Do you want to open and close the jaw a few times, maybe yawn? And then from there, bring your awareness to, your nose, the sinus cavities, the eyes, the eyelids if the eyes are closed, your forehead. And I want you to just take 4 deep breaths here, just registering what the body happens to be feeling in this moment, what sensations and signals it's sending, what sensations and signals you're receiving. And at the end of that 4th exhalation, we're going to start to intentionally deepen our breath. So as you breathe in, I want you to breathe in, down, and wide. And then as you exhale, the breath just comes in and up. So you inhale in, down, and wide. And then it comes back to the midline, into the center, and up and out. And you'll just take 4 more steady breaths like this, trying to make the breath as full, as voluminous as you possibly can. And you'll start to notice that as you do that, it allows you to drop in, it allows you to settle into this moment. Fantastic. At the end of your next exhalation, gently draw your hands to heart center Anjali Mudra. Gently press the palms into each other until you feel equal force on the right and the left. Allow the weight of your thumbs to really just rest, to root into your sternum, that bone in the middle of your chest, and then to lift the sternum into the hands. Soften the chin just a little bit so the back of the neck stays long, front of the neck stays long, and then gently exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. 1 Om to begin. Join if you'd like. Breathe in. Notice the vibration. Gently allow the chin to drop completely towards your chest. Allow the eyes to flutter open, and then we're going to start to make our way forward onto hands and knees. I would encourage you to bring your blocks to the upper outer corners of your space. And then I would encourage you also, if your knees are sensitive, shins are sensitive, to pad them with a blanket. And a few of you had expressed concern about your feet. So we're going to start first with toe squat and see how that goes. So walk your knees, ankles, and shins together. And then you'll push into your hands just a little bit for today. And I want you to shift your weight slightly back so your knees hover off the floor for an inch. Put them back down, and you might notice that you'll just stay here. You'll press your big toes back, your pinky toes back. You might start to walk your hands up and sit tall. And once you find yourself here, hand on heart, hand on belly. And again, I want you to close your eyes and check in. Just notice how the body is feeling right now. Typically, I try to distract you from toes to butt, but today I want you to just really observe, notice what's happening in the body, notice what's happening to your breath, and then notice how that impacts the mental state of what's going on. And we've just got 3 more breaths here. And you'll just observe. Are you counting them down, being like, yeah, I'm almost done? Or are you able to sit with whatever is happening? At the end of this exhalation, let's go ahead and come forward, hands and knees. Extend the tops of your feet onto the floor. Little gentle pitter patter if you'd like. Awesome. And then from here, we'll shift our weight back, lifting one end or both knees off the floor. Great. When you're done with that, come forward, hands and knees, and we're going to pause for a long, awkward series of cats and cows. So the first thing is we're going to become sad non-California cows. So really, yep, dump the belly, really dump the chest, and really dump your head. Everything is there. And we're going to take 10 breaths here. So belly drops, shoulder blades hug together, head drops, sit bones widen. Your arms press the floor for dear life as you continue to soften the belly to the floor. Really press into the index fingers of your hands and just notice how this is an awkward shape. Notice how it impacts your breath. Cool. We'll just take 3 more breath cycles here. Just seeing if you can take a longer, deeper, steadier breath. Awesome. And then at the end of your next exhale, just lift your middle rib cage up and away from the floor into cat, just the middle ribs. So not the belly, not the head, just the middle ribs push up to the floor, finding the cat shape. And then inhale, they push back down to the floor, finding the cow shape. And then you got 4 more of these, exhaling, just rounding in the upper back. Low belly doesn't move, tailbone doesn't move, head doesn't move. Yep. Inhale back to your cow. Yep, 3 more on your own. And you're just seeing how awkward this is. How much movement can you get just in your serratus anterior? Those are the muscles around the rib cage. So you can see if you can really round through the upper back without moving the abdomen, without moving the head, without moving the tail. Let's do 1 more. Awesome. The next time you inhale, go ahead and stay there in that sad California cow shape. And then as you exhale, just pull your low belly button to the back of your spine. See if you can find cow shape just in your middle back without impacting your pelvis, without impacting your ribs. This one's a lot harder, but it should be that sneaky core work Erica likes to refer to. Yep. And then inhale back to your cow. So it's very tiny, but you should feel the whole internal organs like pulling up into the spine as you try to find your cat. And it seems like it's like, oh man. Okay, we got 1 more. Nice job, guys. Keep breathing. Fantastic. Next time you find that sad cow shape, stay there. And then exhale, you're just going to do it in the tailbone. So the tailbone finds the cat shape, but your middle back, lower back, that stays exactly the same as it is. So inhale to a cow, exhale to that cat. Uh-huh. I'm sorry, but it'll help us later on. Okay, we'll take 1 more of those just at the pelvis. Fantastic. Next time you find your sad cows, stay there. We're going to change our breath pattern now. So inhale and lift your head, just your head, nothing else moves. And then exhale, just your head. All right, and you got 4 of those. And you're just noticing how this is the easiest part to move. Like, yep, fantastic. Okay, let's take 2 more. Keep staying with your breath. The next time you find your sad California cow, we're going to go ahead and then rechange our breath. So from here, let's inhale and just lift our heads momentarily. This time, as you exhale, curl your tailbone down, scoop your low belly under, round through your upper ribs, tuck your chin to your chest. And then inhale, flare those buttocks, drop the belly, melt the heart, pull the head forward and through. Great. We've got 4 of those. We'll start with the tailbone. Tailbone curls down. You scoop your organs away from the floor. You ripple the ribs wide. You tuck your chin to your chest. Fantastic. Then blossom through your tailbone. Shift the pelvis up and over the thigh bones. Belly drops, ribs drop, head lifts, hands pull back. Great. 2 more on your own, and you're just paying attention to the breath. Are you still exhaling as you slowly articulate from your butt to your head? And are you inhaling as you slowly articulate from your butt to your head? Awesome. Last one. Oh, look at that. That's a lot of mobility. All right. You've got 4 more. This time I want you to just do the standard one. Where you inhaling, you drop your whole spine at once to the floor, lifting your butt, lifting your head. And then exhaling, pulling your whole back of the body up and away from the floor. And as you do that, just notice what the difference is between the full body doing it and articulating through the vertebra. We need to allow ourselves sometimes to take the time to pause and do things gradually in order to really let them settle, let them land. And sometimes we just kind of got to go all in. One is not better than the other. All right, on your next in breath, let's go ahead and come back to a still neutral spine. Walk your big toes together, separate your knees a little bit wider than your hips. And then from here, you're going to push your butt back towards your heels. Walk your hands 1 or 2 more inches forward. You might come to the tips of your fingertips like cousin it or cousin thing, but I want you to push your hands down and forward, draw your butt down and back, and then see if you can elongate your ears in line with your arms. Maybe bring your forehead all the way down to the floor, and you'll just take 2 more breath cycles here. Again, drawing your breath in, down, so towards your butt, and wide, right to left. Awesome sauce. Next time you inhale, lift your head a millimeter from the floor. Walk your left hand and your right hand about 2 inches to your right. So just 2 inches. And then you'll re-lower your head in line with your arms and pull back isometrically with your left hand towards your left hip and just feel that nice elongation happening on your left side body. Next in breath, you'll lift your head a millimeter from the floor. You'll walk your hands again over to the right about 2 to 3 inches. Push down and forward with your your left hand and pull back isometrically. Then just notice what's happening on the left side body. All right, 3rd time's the charm. Go ahead and lift your head a millimeter from the floor. Walk your hands another 2 inches or so towards the right. This time, you're going to push your hands down and forward. Lift your right low belly up and away from the floor. Let your left low ribs spiral to the floor a bit and pull back with your left hand isometrically. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice what you notice happening there. Nice work. Inhale, start to lift your head away from the floor. Walk your hands back through center and just take a moment to pause. Both hands in center. Push your hands down and forward, your hips down and back, and just notice what's happening in your breath. Next in breath, head lifts a millimeter from the floor. Walk your hands about 2 inches over to your left. Again, push the fingertips down and forward, but isometrically pull back just with that right hand to the right hip. Big breaths. Fantastic. Inhale, lift the head. And then again, walking over slightly towards the left. And again, the more you can root down in your right hip as you pull back with your right hand, you'll find a nice stretch happening on the right side. Is that okay, Jenny? Awesome. Last set. Inhale, lift your head. Walk your hands to the left. Pull the hands back. Now this time we're going to scoop the low belly on the left side. Allow the right ribs to fall towards the floor. Yep. And then pull back with the right hand into the right hip until a nice stretch happens all along the right side. Fantastic. All right. Next in breath, lift the head. Walk the hands back through center and just take 2 breaths here just to notice what you notice. The end of the second exhalation, come forward onto hands and knees. Awesome. Once we find ourselves in hands and knees, again, just because we had concerns about our feet, we're going to take a moment to just bring our left shin to the back of our right shin. I'd like you to just go ahead and drag your shin up and down, getting a little bit of pressure there, seeing how that goes. And then you'll start to saw right to left. Jenny's like, are we okay? Uh-huh. And so we already know where we're going with this. So some of you will start to walk your hands back and you'll pin your right calf around your left shin. You might be like, yeah, Jessica, I want those blocks. That's too much pressure. And that's why we've got our blocks. And so you might just stay there and you'll just breathe. And you just notice what you notice, what's happening right now in this moment. Can you fully embody the sensation? Can you allow the signals to be received? Right? Next in breath, you'll come forward. You'll draw the left shin a little further back, finding a different fun spot. And again, we just pause and we breathe. And we grimace and we breathe. Big breaths. Okay, last time, come forward. Draw the left shin a little further back. And then just notice what's happening here. Yeah. Yeah, we've got some squeals and some signs saying we need to do this more. So people at home, I hope you're breathing. All right, let's come forward, hands and knees. Send your right foot back, curl the toes under, and find a bit of happy relief there. You might pulse a little forward and back. You might not. I find it's kind of fun to just stay there and reach back through my foot today, but you know, we're having our things. And then when you're ready, we'll try the other side. So now you bend your right knee, bring your right shin to the back of your left calf. And again, you start by just going up and down, finding a bit of friction, a bit of heat. And then once you feel like you've gotten enough of that, you again saw the leg bone, going right to left, happy little violins. When you're ready, you find your first spot. You pin your right shin between your left calf and your left shin. And again, the blocks are there if you're like, yeah, I need that support. And you pause and you breathe. Notice if you're grimacing and see if you can soften just a little bit. And if you're sending me evil death thoughts, that's okay too. All right, come forward. Shift the weight back. Take your second spot. And again, just notice. Finding a bit of calmness in the breath allows the muscles to release just a bit. You're not in fight or flight anymore. All right, come forward last time. What are the things we do when we're in pain? I feel like I told this story years ago, but the first time I did the Align and Hold series with Yoga Rupa, we were holding these things for, I don't know, 5 minutes at least. And this one woman just started laughing through it. The rest of us were like internally crying and screaming at him in our head. And she just started laughing. And you could hear it in this group of 80 people. We're just like, why is she finding this funny? But like everybody was uncomfortable. And that was just how she expressed it. I was like, wow, okay, go ahead and come forward. I wish that was my response. Send your left foot back, curl the toes under, and just feel what sensations flood the body now, what's aware in your breath. Fantastic. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Lower the knees to the mat. And then from here, we're going to walk our hands forward about, I don't know, 12 inches or so. Make sure your hips stay stacked over your knees. And then you're going to push your hands down and forward. And you might find that like maybe your hands need to go a little bit further, but you're going to start to push hands down and forward. Keep the tops of your feet on the floor as best as you can. Lower your ears in line with your elbows. And maybe you draw your nose to the floor. Maybe you draw your chin to the floor. Maybe you draw your chest to the floor. But I don't care as long as you're breathing. So notice if you can take in a deeper breath. See what happens if you splay or flare your sit bones here. And just pause and breathe. One more steady, deep breath. Nice work. At the end of this exhalation, you're going to push into your hands to lift your chest a bit. Walk your hands back, maybe about one hand print, and then shift your weight forward so you're in this weird diagonal position that should be engaging some of your core. Now, again, we're going to push our hands down and see if you can round through your upper back like we did before. Scoop your belly in, and here's definitely some core work. So reach your sternum forward, even though you're rounding through the upper back. I know that sounds odd, but it allows the core to come in just a little bit more. Fantastic. And then when you're ready, you're going to shoot your heart forward, bend the elbows, and start to slowly lower down in one piece. Nice job. Cool. Once you find yourself on your bellies, I want you to bring your hands behind your low back. How many of you have seen The Simpsons and know Mr. Burns? Great. So he does this with his hands. I want you to do this with your hands. Behind your backs. Okay. And you'll find you're just going to take a couple seconds and be like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And if you don't want to do that, no worries. You can just interlace your hands. So you choose for you. But you're going to do about 10 little baby locust pose, just lifting your head. So before we get to that, I want you to just take a moment and take a breath. And you're only going to lift as high as your breath wants to lift you. So this is a Kriya I learned this week from a Kundalini teacher. And you're going to go ahead and do 10. So the inhale brings you up, and the exhale brings you down. A Kundalini teacher, Sierra Hollister. Yeah, she's interesting. I didn't like her at first, but she's definitely grown on me as I've gone along. What? I haven't learned that. Oh. Well, you're going to have to teach me that one. This Kriya is supposed to be good for your immune system. So you're going to do 10 of these. And each time I want you to see if you can lift a little bit higher. But you're only going as high as the breath naturally lifts you. And you'll start to find that as you go through this, if you draw your shoulders up and on your back, it totally helps. It helps you find a little bit more lift. If you keep your legs active, that also helps you find lift. And I'm secretly trying to warm your body. So I seriously haven't been counting. So I'm going to say you're at 5. So you've got another 5 more. Keep going. Because she makes you do 40 of these. So I'm like, 10 is easy. And we're just trying to build a little bit of heat. So let's do another 3 more. I'm trying to move the energy. The next time you come up, we're going to stay up. So we're going to stay here and you're going to inhale and suspend the breath at the top. I'd like you to now slide your fingers together more like you're trying to make a little fist. Draw the shoulders onto your back. Again, reach the sternum forward like we did at the very beginning of practice when you could feel your sternum pushing into your hands. And then notice if you can draw the ears away from the shoulders, lift the chest a little higher. Next exhale, lower all the way down, bring an ear to the mat and just pause and breathe. Pause and breathe. Pause and breathe. Gently draw the other ear to the mat. And again, you just notice what's happening right now in this moment. Fantastic. Bring your forehead to the mat. Bring your hands alongside your ribs. Inhale up to hands and knees. And then make your way into Sukhasana. So easy cross-legged pose. So you can sit on the blanket, you can put your butt on the floor, you can sit on a block, it's totally up to you. So people at home, you did not get this warning. If you have any congestion, you might want some Kleenex right now because we're gonna do Kapalabhati breathing. This time we're gonna interlace our hands and bring our hands to the back of our head. And I want you to sit super tall. First thing you're gonna do is just pull your hands into your skull and see if you can find length. Again, you can soften the gaze or close the eyes. It's been a while since we've done Kapalabhati, but it's basically the rapid exhale where you draw the belly in. But in Kundalini, apparently you do this while you're doing twists as well. So that's what we're gonna do. So take a big breath in, audible exhale. Inhale halfway. And then as you exhale, you'll start to twist to your left, and then right and left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Yep. And you can keep the gaze closed. I find that that helps so I don't feel dizzy. You can keep the eyes open if that's not going to make you dizzy, but we're going to go for another 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 13, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to center. Inhale, suspend the breath. Notice the energy moving around in the chest. And then when you need to, exhale, let all the breath go, lower the hands, and just notice what you notice right here, right now. Bring a hand to the heart and a hand to the belly, and just breathe. Nice work. Okay. Go ahead and inhale, come forward, hands and knees. And then we're going to take ourselves into our first plank pose. I know that's an awkward transition, but here we go. Fantastic. Let's go. And once you find yourself in your first plank, just notice how this feels. Big breaths in, big breaths out. Your hands are pushing down. Those shoulder blades are wide on the back. On your next exhale, bend your knees, lift your hips up and back, and find yourself in your first down dog. So we're going to keep our knees really bent for today. And I want you to reach just your left heel to the floor. So your right knee bends even more. And you keep pushing your hands down and forward. And then if you'd like, notice what happens if you pull your beautiful left toes up and away from the floor. Oh yeah. How does that impact the stretch in your calves and your legs? And are you breathing? Did we forget to do that part? On your next in-breath, let's go ahead and bend both knees and then lower just your right heel to the floor. And then again, what happens if we lift our beautiful green toes up and away from the floor? And you're just pausing and you're breathing. Right toes are lifting away. Awesome sauce. Nice work. Inhale, bend both knees. Exhale, see if you can straighten your legs and just notice how that feels. Okay, inhale, come forward into plank pose, Fallenkasana. As you exhale, shift your weight forward and slower than you want to. Lower all the way down to your abdomen, lifting the head, hugging the shoulder blades onto the back. Once you're down on the mat, extend the tops of your feet into the floor. And the first thing I want you to do today is I want you to claw the mat like it was carpet underneath you. So index fingers pull down. You pull your heart forward. You draw your shoulder blades together on the back. And then you reach your sternum so far forward, it has no choice but to lift up. Nice job. Take a breath in here. And on your next exhale, lower all the way down. Push or curl your toes under. Draw your shoulders up to your ears, shoulders onto your back, ears in line with your shoulders. And I want you today to squeeze your shoulders onto your back and then hug your core in. Push down through your hands and come up to hands and knees. So we're engaging the core as one piece. Yep. And then up and back, downward facing dog. Right. 3 breaths. And just notice how this feels. How's the body? How's the breath? How are you? Okay. Last breath cycle here. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. Bend just your right knee, just your right knee. Keep bending just your right knee. Let's draw your right foot between your hands. Yep. Once your right foot comes forward, let's bring our hands to our blocks. And I want you to push down into your feet so much that your hands could magically just float away from the floor. They're not going to, but you could. Fantastic. Cool. Now inhale, pull your heart and sternum forward, and then exhale, straighten your front leg long. And you've got 4 of these. So you inhale, you bend that front knee. You exhale, you straighten that front knee. But again, the weight is in your feet, that if I asked you to take your hands away from the blocks, you could. It wouldn't cause you to stumble or fall because all the power, all the weight is rooted down. Awesome sauce. Let's do one more. Big breath in and big breath out. Okay, this next time we bend the front knee, I want you to step your back foot in a smidge. Put your foot down on the floor and your toes pointing up towards the left corner of your mat, and then straighten your front leg long. From here, let's bring our fingertips to our blocks. I want you to again find cousin thing and pull the hands back isometrically, reach your heart forward. So this is that 4-part cow. I want you to flare your butt behind you, reach your heart forward, sternum lift. Yeah, and you just pause and you breathe and say hello to the back of that front leg. If you'd like, you might peel the ball of your right foot up and away from the floor. And you just pause and you breathe and you say, hello, body. Awesome sauce. Okay, let's inhale, bend the front knee, plant the foot on the floor. And then we're gonna go ahead and lower our back knee down to our blanket. Awesome. And once your back knee is down, you're just gonna walk your hands onto the front thigh thing. And you just pause and you breathe here. Again, you push into your right foot, push into your left foot, hug those points together. We're looking for a gentle stretch across the front of our quads. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice what you notice. Awesome. Let's move on. Inhale, hands to the floor, straighten the back leg long, step your right foot back to plank pose. Awesome sauce. Take a breath there. Next exhalation, shift your weight forward, lower all the way down. Once you're down, again, tops of the feet to the floor, isometrically claw the mat, pull your heart and sternum forward and through. And then this time I want you to, again, see if you can squeeze your shoulder blades at the top, press the tops of the feet down, inner thighs up, and maybe another inch away from the floor. Nice work. Exhale, lower down. Curl your toes under, shoulder blades up towards the ears, onto your back. Hug the shoulder blades together, scoop the pubic bone to the belly, push down through the hands and knees, and then back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. And just notice, how are the legs doing now? How's the breath doing now? How are you doing right now? Nice work. Okay, let's try the other side. So bend just your left knee. Feel that sensation on the right side, and then step your left foot quietly between your hands. Fantastic. Hands come to blocks. And again, pushing so much into your feet that hands could float away from the floor if wanted. Yeah, I'm in 4 of these. So inhale, heart reaches forward, and then exhale, straighten that leg. And you just follow your own breath. You notice how this side is its own unique animal. And again, all the weight stays in the legs, so the hands are just kind of there as guideposts more than supports. Okay. The next time you bend your front knee, let's go ahead and pause there. Step your back foot in a smidge, spin your right foot down to the floor, and then go ahead and straighten your front leg long. From here again, fingertips come to the tips of your fingertips on your blocks. Send your pubic bone back, flare those sit bones, heart and sternum come forward, and you just pause and you breathe. Maybe you stay here, maybe you start to lift the toes, maybe you start to lift the whole sole of your left foot up and away from the floor, and you say, hello, hamstrings and calf, hello, breath. Awesome. Next in breath, go ahead and lower the foot to bend the knee. Let's plant our knee on our blanket. So repad if needed. And then again, both hands onto the belly of our front thigh bone. And you just pause and breathe there for a few seconds. Push into left foot, push into right knee, suck those points together. Notice if you can lower the tailbone down so you find the quad stretch just a little bit more evenly. And then at the end of that, shift the weight forward, hands to the mat, straighten the back leg, step the left leg back to meet the right. Awesome sauce. Inhale here. And then exhale, shift your weight forward, lower all the way down. Once you find yourself there, this time we're going to bring or add on a little bit. So again, isometrically pull your hands back, reach your heart forward, and you'll start to draw the shoulder blades onto the back and lift the ears a little bit more away from the floor. Now, if we were imagining that our spine were aligned, see if you can make your spine more of a candy cane. So the upper back is, I guess, the hook of the candy cane. And then you might hover your hands about an inch away from the floor, hug the shoulder blades together on the back, and see if you can pull your sternum forward a little bit more. Nice work. Next, exhale, lower all the way down. Curl toes under. This time you can keep your knees on the floor or straighten your legs. Draw your shoulders up towards your ears. Shoulder blades on your back. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Hug the core. Push the hands. plank pose or hands and knees. Yep. And then downward facing dog. 3 breaths. And just notice, how's the body working? How's the breath working? How are you working? Cool. Okay. So keep your left leg as it is. Inhale, sweep your right foot up and back. And just pause here. How square can you keep your hips? Yeah, that's great. Lift a little higher through the inner, yeah, right thigh. Next, exhale, knee to nose, round the spine, step the right foot to the mat. Fantastic. From here, again, hands come to blocks. Step your back foot in a smidge and put the foot down. Fantastic. And then we're going to do the same thing that we did before. So inhale, heart reaches forward, and then exhale, straighten that front leg long. So now we're in pyramid proper, and we're using this as a prep to get to Virabhadrasana 1. So you're just bending the front knee and straightening the front knee, and bending the front knee and straightening the front knee. And you're just noticing how that's working for you. All right. Next time you inhale and bend that front knee, we're going to pause there again. So much weight is going into your feet that your hands can become light, but this time you actually are going to come up. Yeah, look at that. Fantastic. Okay. And then hands come up and overhead. Now you get to choose here what you do with the hands. Maybe the hands touch, maybe they're separate. That part I don't care so much. But what I want you to do is I want you to see if you can bring your gaze internal. And I want you to root down into your back left foot a lot. Notice if that needs or requires that you engage your left glute. Notice what has to happen in your pelvis. Does it need to be more of a cat or a cow for you? And then find if you can lift those ribs up, lift the sternum up, pause and breathe. Yeah, fantastic. And you just notice, can you press more weight into your right big toe so the weight stays even? Yeah. Next, exhale, hands come down to the floor. Fantastic. Pivot to the ball of your back knee. Lower your back knee down to the mat. And this time we're going to walk our blocks back and keep the sole of our front foot glued to the floor, finding Ardha Hanumanasana. And you'll notice, so my people that said they were having heel pain or foot pain, notice what's happening on the front of your foot if you keep the sole of the foot down. And then you might choose to peel just your toes up and then send your heel forward even more and pull the toes back towards your knee. And again, find your little cow butt. So your butt sticks back, your heart reaches forward. Yep. And finding that flat back, cow back to see if we can separate or find the full length rather of our hamstring. Great. One more breath cycle here. Next in breath, we're going to shift our weight forward, bend our knee, plant our foot, plant our palms, lift the back leg up, and step back to downward, plank pose, downward plank, that's what I'm saying. All right, inhale, shift your weight forward, and then as you exhale, lower all the way down. Okay, adding on. So, tops of the feet to the floor, push down into your hands, pull your heart forward, pull your sternum forward, draw your shoulder blades onto your back, and then see if you can lift your head a little bit more. This time we're going to hover our hands an inch, and I want you to slide your hands back a little bit, and then hug your shoulder blades together a little bit more, and then put your hands back down. From there, see if you can roll your inner thighs up more, reach your toes so far back that they float up, and then see if you can pull your heart forward just another inch. We'll breathe for 3, elongate the back of your neck for 2, yep. Next, exhale, lower all the way down. Fantastic. Inhale, come up to hands and knees this time. And then you're going to sit yourself back for child's pose. And you just take a moment to pause. And you just take a moment to breathe. And you just notice what's happening here and what's happening now. Fantastic. All right, let's go ahead and sit on your shins. Okay, so it's clearly happening to all of us. And then we're going to go ahead and stand on our shins. So you might want to put that blanket once again underneath your shins if your knees or your shins are sensitive. Our blocks are going to be somewhere easily accessible to us. And then we're going to bring our hands to our hips. Cool. From here, we're going to step our right foot out to the right. So if you guys need to stagger or turn, that's totally fine as well. That works as well. Okay. And we're going to make sure our right foot is on the floor, toes are pointing straight forward, left arm sweeps up and overhead, and we're just going to take a little side bend. So we have the block because if you want to use a block, you can use a block or your hand can be on your shin, but I'm going to take a little side bend to the right. Notice if you can still lengthen your tailbone straight down, if you can allow your left ribs to go to the left, if you can soften your ears away from your neck and just pause and breathe. And then notice if we're grimacing our mouths. Okay. Go ahead and inhale, come up. Take a moment, step your foot in. And then we're going to try the other side. So step your left foot out. Awesome. And then right hand sweeps up. And again, block is there if you need it, but maybe you don't. And we'll just side bend. And we want to make sure our weight, as best as possible, stays over our hip. And you just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe. And then notice if you can draw your left shoulder forward just a smidge. Yeah, so that it's more of a true side bend. Yeah, and when you're ready, you'll inhale and come back up. Step your hand in, step your leg in. Go ahead and curl your toes under and sit back for a moment, toe swap. And just pause here, hand to heart, hand to belly. We've been here before. How is it going now? What's different right in this moment? Fantastic. When you're ready, allow yourself to return to hands and knees and then make your way back to downward facing dog. This time in down dog, let's go ahead and bend both our knees once again. And then once again, just lower your left heel to the floor. And see if you can peel your left toes up. How does the sensation feel now? How does the body feel now? How does the breath feel now? When you're ready, bend both knees and then switch sides. So just the right heel reaches to the floor. Just the right toes peel up and away from the floor if the right heel reaches down. Great. Inhale, go ahead and bend both knees. Exhale, straighten both legs. Let's add on. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. As you exhale, draw the knee to the nose. Quietly plant that foot between your hands. Maybe your hands come to your blocks, maybe they don't. Step your back foot in for warrior one. Root the back foot and then inhale, come all the way up for Virabhadrasana 1. And you just notice what you notice. How's the breath working now? Fantastic. Take 2 more breath cycles here. Notice if you need to externally rotate that back thigh just a smidge. Awesome. On your next exhalation, right hand comes to right hip. Inhale, straighten through your right leg. And then as you exhale, you're going to reach forward, out and down. Send your buttocks back and behind you as you lower your left hand to a block or a floor underneath your left shoulder. Now, with your right hand, I want you to bring your right thumb to the inner edge of your hip crease so your fingers wrap around your gluteal flesh. From here, lift your spine parallel to the floor. Again, you're going to pull your heart forward. You're going to send your butt back and then start to scoop your belly on the right side. As you pull your left hand back, scoop your belly on the right side, pull your left hand back, reach your heart forward, reach your butt back, and start to rotate your rib cage towards the right by scooping the belly, pulling the right hip back, sending the pubic bone back, the sternum forward. Fantastic. Some of you will stay right here. Some of you might reach your right arm up towards the sky. Awesome. And you just pause and you breathe. Can the rotation happen because you're lengthening the spine first? Yes. Then scooping the belly second. Then leaning the heart back third. Yeah. Fantastic. As you're ready, go ahead and lower your right hand down. Inhale, pivot to the ball of your back foot. Prepare that blanket for padding if needed. Yep. And then lower the back knee down. Cool. This time we're going to push down through the front foot, front shin, come all the way up. And then we're going to go ahead and sweep our left arm up and overhead. So this time you might just stay here again, pushing foot and knee together, sucking those points together, tailbone lengthens down. You might reach up more through your left and start to take a little left side bend. And you just pause and you just breathe. And we're noticing what's happening on our left side as you lengthen the tailbone down. Notice what's happening in the right shoulder. Can it truly be a side bend or is there a bit of a twist happening? Awesome. Next in breath, go ahead and come up through center. As you exhale, hands come to the blocks. Shift your weight back, straighten the front leg long. Awesome. Now, because we've sort of already been here in Ardha Hanumanasana, you can do the exact same thing that we did before. You might find that you want to slide your foot a little further forward. If the sole of your foot is up and away from the floor, you might find that you want to try an external rotation of that right leg. And if you're doing that, you're again pushing in your right heel, pushing your right left knee, hugging those points together, reaching your sternum forward. And are you breathing? All right. Next in. Probably. I mean, that seems like a good one to say. I'm just like, yeah, I like that. Next in breath, go ahead and turn your foot back to neutral. Shift your weight forward, bend your knee, plant your palms, straighten the back leg long, step yourself back to plank pose. Awesome. Soft. All right, so this is going to be a weird transition. I'm not going to lie, but it is. So shift your weight forward, lower all the way down. Cool. So here's where a weird transition is going to start. Okay, so from here again, let's start by pressing the tops of our feet into the floor. This time I want you to pull the hands forward, draw the shoulder blades together, and see if you can squeeze them together. Now we're going to see how high we can lift into our cobra. So you're going to pull your heart forward a little further, draw the shoulder blades together a little back. Now, see if you can hover your hands. Fantastic. This is the awkward part. Your hands are going to come forward and find yourself in Sphinx. Yeah. Now, once your hands have slid forward to there, notice how much higher that is. I want you to pull your hands back isometrically. I want you to push your pinky toenails and your big toenails down. I want you to pull your hands back and your heart forward. Lengthen your tailbone back and then hug your shoulder blades onto your back body and just notice if you can pause and if you can breathe. Fantastic. Next exhale, go ahead and lower all the way down. Replant your hands alongside your ribs. Curl your toes under, your choice, hands and knees, or plank, and then downward facing dog. And then you just, what? Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was going to be awkward, but I was like, okay, we'll find out. We've been working there the whole time, but let's see. We did the first side. Okay, let's try the other side. Inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. As you exhale, step the left leg quietly between your hands. Fantastic. Hands come to blocks. Back foot steps in and spins down for warrior one. And then when the feet are heavy, the spine reaches up for Virabhadrasana one. Both hands high. Yeah, look at us go. Great. And you've just got 3 breath cycles here. And again, just as we did before, the motor or the director of your ship is your back foot. And the back foot is really governed by what's happening in your pelvis. Yeah. Okay. Great. And you just notice, I notice that if I externally rotate my back leg, it really changes the sensation I feel on the front of the right hip, changes what I feel on the back of the right thigh and calf, but you just choose and pay attention. Fantastic. On your next exhale, we're going to bring our left hand to our hip. You'll inhale and reach up through your right arm. And then as you exhale, I want you to think of really sending your butt back as your hand goes forward this time. And then lower your right hand to floor or block underneath your right shoulder. Cool. With your left hand, reposition it so the thumb is in the crease. Pull your thigh back, your heart forward, your butt back. Claw your right hand into the floor block and then reach your heart forward. Now, with spine as parallel-ish as possible, you're going to start to scoop your left low belly. So with the spine reaching, elongating tail to crown, you start to pull the left low belly away, and then the ribs start to ripple towards the left. Yeah, look at that. And then some of you may stay there and continue to draw the left shoulder blade onto the left back. Some of you might reach the left arm up. But what's more important is that you're finding the elongation and then the ringing, the rippling. Yeah, those look pretty, guys and gals and people. Yeah, and then when you're ready, you'll slowly lower the left hand down to the mat. You'll pivot to the ball of your back foot. You'll bend your back knee. You'll lower the back knee down to your happy blanket or whatever you're using or not using. And then again, oh crap, where were we? Did we go to Ardha Hanumanasana? No, wait. Yeah, we came here. Sorry. brain is having a brain fog. So we'll go ahead and stand up, hands on thigh. Go ahead and reach your right arm up. And then we'll take a little bit of a side bend over to our left. And again, we want to lengthen the tailbone down. We want to notice if we're twisting the shoulders a true side bend or if it's a little bit more twisted. Awesome. So left shoulder forward, just here we go. On your next in breath, go ahead and come back through center. As you exhale, hands down to blocks, shift your weight back, straighten your front leg long. And then again, notice if you want to adjust this Ardha Hanumanasana. So maybe you slide your foot a little further forward. Maybe you peel the whole sole of the foot up and away from the floor. Maybe you externally rotate the left thigh. I'm borrowing what Erica just said. In the words of Buffy, maybe you turn it up and smile. And if you don't, that's okay too. But you just pause and you breathe and you notice. Awesome sauce. Great. Next in breath, go ahead and come back to neutral. Shift your weight forward, plant the foot, plant the palm, straighten the back leg long, and step yourself back to plank pose. Fantastic. From plank, you'll shift your weight forward. You'll lower through Chaturanga Dandasana all the way down. And we're going to try that weird little nifty difty thing again. So again, tops of the feet, press down, make sure they're active. Push down into your hands, pull your sternum forward, draw the shoulder blades onto the back. And really what we're trying to do is use our back muscles first. So you draw the heart forward and then maybe see if you can hover the hands, squeeze the shoulder blades together a little further forward, and then slide your hands forward. Awesome. Cool. Now, once we're here again, press your pinky toenails into the mat. Big toenails evenly, inner thighs ripple up, hands pull back, heart lifts up. And some of you will stay right here. You'll be like, yep, Jessica, this is where I'm going to stay. Some of you might want to try what they call a yin, which is seal. So you can start to put more weight into your hands and maybe straighten your arms. That may or may not be something you wish to try. So you modulate that for you, but you pause and you breathe. And when you've had enough, you come back down to Sphinx pose. Yep, and then we'll all lie down on our belly and take a happy breath. Bring a cheek to the mat. Pause and breathe. And pause and breathe. Okay, bring the other cheek to the mat. Okay. And just notice, how does the heart feel against the floor? Do you feel the belly pushing into the floor when you breathe in, or just the chest? All right. Bring your head back to center. Come up to hands and knees. We're going to sit on your shin bones once again, softening the gaze, closing the eyes. And so we're all going to actually have our eyes closed for this. Bring a hand to the heart, hand to the belly, and just notice. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and open the eyes again, and we're going to come and stand on our shins. I would encourage you to separate your shins, thigh, hip distance apart. Some of us are going to want to bring our blocks and put them on the highest height alongside our feet. We may or may not get there, so it's just totally fine. And then for you, depending upon your knees, you might curl your toes under, you might not. We're going to work towards Ustrasana. If your feet are flat against the floor, it's harder if you're going to touch your feet, so deeper back bend. So you get to choose what you're going to do for you. Hands will be on your hips. And the first thing I want you to do is I want you to notice if it feels better to have your fingertips facing up or if it feels better to have your fingertips facing down. It depends on your wrist in terms of what feels better for you. And then from there, you're going to draw the shoulders up towards the ears. You're going to draw the shoulder blades together on the back. And I want you to really try to draw your chin to your chest to your chin. Okay. Now, you're going to allow your elbows to hug towards each other. So again, hugging those shoulder blades really together on the back. And then you can start to lean back. And as you lean back, your inner thighs come back with you. And then you might just stay here, be like, yep, Jessica, this is fantastic. This is where I'm staying. You might release one hand to a block underneath you. You might release the other hand to a block underneath you. You might release your hands to your feet. Whatever you're doing, your chin is coming towards your chest, your shoulder blades are hugging together on your back, and then you're seeing how long you can make your neck, like it's a, I don't know, maybe a Pez dispenser. And you're just going to pause and you're going to breathe, and the shoulders are coming onto the back. And after you've taken about 3 to 4 breaths there and you're ready to come out, one hand comes to your back, the other hand comes to the back. You scoop your belly in for dear life. I do that sneaky core work. And then you sit back onto your shin bones. Maybe your toes are curled under, maybe they're not, but you just take a moment to pause and you take a moment to breathe. You take a moment to pause and you take a moment to breathe. Where's all the energy that you might feel? All right. Do we have another one in us, or are we ready to move on? Okay. If you'd like to do another one, go ahead and do another one. If you're like, yeah, I'm not doing that, go ahead and meet us in downward facing dog, and then we'll meet in child's pose. So if you're going to do another camel, have at it right away. If you're like, no, I'm not, go to downward facing dog for about 5 breaths and then make your way to child's pose. Awesome. All right, so it looks like we're doing it again. Okay, so again, same thing. Shoulder blades are onto the back, chin is to the chest, the inner thighs spiral back, and then you lean the inner thighs back as you lean the heart back. Maybe you release to the feet. And if you are touching the feet, notice what happens if your hands are on the inside edges of your legs versus the outside edges. I find that when I'm on the inside, it gives me more of a chest opener than when I'm on the outside. Awesome sauce. From here, we'll gently release. We'll come back out. Sit on your shins for a moment just to allow the energy to ground and to settle. And then those that were in camel, you'll make your way to hands and knees. You'll make your way back to downward facing dog. You'll stay there for about 5 breaths. 5 steady, smooth breaths. And we're just really trying to keep that elongation through your spine. So notice now, if you can really send your pubic bone up and back behind you, finding that tipping of the cow shape in the pelvis. And then push the hands down and forward, but yet isometrically pull them back. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and lower our knees to the mat and find child's pose. And you'll just take 2 breath cycles in child's pose. And again, just check in. What is true right now? Okay. At the end of this exhalation, you'll come to sit on your shin. Our last little thing before we cool down. We are going to bring our forearms down to the mat. We're going to come to prayer arms. Again, our elbows are slightly inside of our shoulders so that when we go into dolphin, there's room for our skin flesh to catch the mat. So hands in prayer, round through your spine like your cat's Halloween. Cats curl those toes under. And then still keeping your armpits lifting away from the floor, you'll start to push your butt towards where the ceiling and the wall meet. Oh, that looks nice, Erica. And then some of you might walk your feet towards your face. Again, you're thinking of blossoming your buttocks back and behind you. Your elbows are pushing down. Awesome sauce. Feel good? Okay. And you just pause and you breathe. And after you've done that as much as you want, yeah. And you lift your hips up a little bit more. Wow, yeah. There you go. How's that feel? Okay. And you stay as long as you like. And then you're going to take child pose once again, but this time with little fists into your tummy. Little fists into your tummy. I know that sounds weird. So your thumb wraps, or your fingers wrap over your thumbs. You pull in and up, and you reach over. It just allows the hands to sort of get in towards the psoas. And for me, I feel like my whole back widens. It feels quite nice. If you don't think that, that's totally fine. You can let me know, but it's I don't know, I enjoy it. And you just take a couple breaths there. And the hands are really carving out the space in the abdomen, so it feels like you can massage your psoas, which connects on the, I guess, anterior part of your spine. Awesome. And then after you've had enough of that, you'll come up to sit. You'll turn around. We're winding down towards the end of our practice. If you like covering your bodies up, this might be a great time to do that. Or if you have to pee, that's even better idea. Yeah, no, I'm like, I now have to pee. That's not good. I need to do the whole practice with you guys right now. I'm like, oh, okay. And then you'll lay down on your backs. Once you find yourself on your back, if you had a strap and you think you might want to use it, this would be a great time to also make sure that's somewhere near your head so you don't have to go finding it. But you're just going to first find yourself onto your back, head towards the top of your space. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Once you find yourself here, let's go ahead and bend our knees and plant our feet firmly on the floor. Allow your hands to come alongside your hips. And then notice if your feet are close enough that you could tickle your heels with your fingertips. Separate your feet about hip distance apart and then start to draw the shoulder blades onto your back. Push down through the feet, push down through the arms and the upper shoulders, and lift your hips up and away from the floor. You might want to remove that blanket. And you'll just take a few breaths here in bridge pose. And it doesn't have to be your biggest, best bridge ever. I want you to just notice if you can engage the back body. So, really, the hands, the arms, the back of the head. Notice what's happening in your big toe mounds. Can you really root the inner edges of your feet to notice that that allows the inner thighs to roll together? Some of you will keep your hands on the mat. Some of you might choose to grab the outer edges of your mat and pull it wide so you can pull more of your shoulder blades underneath you. Some of you might interlace your hands, but you're just allowing yourself to reach your sternum towards your chin. Find that long, deep breath. We're going to stay here for about 4 breath cycles. Keep pressing through the big toe edge of the foot to keep the thighs in a neutral rotation. Yep. And when you're ready to come out, you release your hands, you untuck those shoulders, you bring your butt back down to the floor and you pause. And you pause. And you pause. And then just notice what is alive and active for you right now. Okay. Draw your right knee to your chest. Interlace your hands at the back of your right thigh and extend your left leg long against the floor. So other left leg. No, so the left leg's long on the floor. Wow. Oh, there we go. Okay. And your right knee is still bent at the moment. So if you're happy here, you just stay here. Some of you might start to kick your right thigh away from you to find that perpendicular angle. This is where our strap might be our friend. If you feel like straightening your right leg would be aided by the assistance of a strap, by all means, please use that. Otherwise, you'll start to straighten your right leg up towards the sky. And we're just trying to find 90-degree angles. So finding a 90-degree angle in the front of your left hip. So it feels like you have to find that cow shape here in your pelvis so that the pubic bone and the ASIS anterior superior iliac spine are parallel to the ceiling. And then you're just reaching up through your right leg. You're pausing and you're breathing. Oh my God, I love Robin's dog. That was the most dramatic thing ever. Sorry, her dog just walked across the screen and it made me think of this study I remember in school with the guy, they were playing basketball and the guy in an ape suit crosses the screen and yet nobody saw him because they were trying to count the passes. It's like, oh, there goes Robin's dog. He's the man in the ape suit. Okay, and you just pause and you breathe and you keep reaching up through your right heel. And then when you're ready to come out of this, you'll gently bend the right knee, you'll hug the knee into the chest, you'll plant the right foot on the floor, you'll bend the left knee, you'll plant the left foot on the floor, and you just take a moment. How's the right side in comparison to the left? And when you're ready to explore the other side, you draw your left knee into your chest first, hands at the back of the thigh, and then slide your right leg long against the floor. And then again, find that cow shape in your spine. So that really slight pelvic tilt. Some of you will stay here. Some of you will use your strap to put it across the ball of your foot. Some of you will just straighten the left leg up and to the sky. But you just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe and you notice what you notice. And we're just trying to find 90-degree angles. For those of us that have back issues, this is supposed to be very good in terms of resetting the spine. It's also supposed to help us if we have sleep issues. You just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe. And then you notice what signals are you receiving right now? I find it fascinating that supposedly more signals go from our body up to our brain than the other way around. And so if we listen to that, what might that aid us in? Okay, you've got 3 more breath cycles here. At the end of your third exhalation, you'll gently bend the left knee. You'll put the left foot on the floor. You'll plant the right foot right next to it. And you'll just check in. Okay, last few things. Cross your right ankle over the top of your left thigh. Really flex through that foot, thread your hands through the holes of your legs, and maybe grab the back of your left thigh, front of your left shin. Now, my knee people, I want you to be very mindful here that you're not pressing too much with your right forearm so that you're not overtaxing the knees. Instead, really flex through the right foot and think of maybe pushing the right outer ankle into the left thigh so that there's engagement there. And then that should help open your left outer hip. Fantastic. One more breath cycle here. At the end of this exhalation, gently release. Draw the left foot to the floor, draw the right foot to the floor. Take a moment to notice the difference. And then you'll switch sides. So again, left ankle crosses over right thigh. Thread your hand through the triangular hole. Maybe grab the back of your right thigh, front of your right shin, and then check in. Can you keep pulling your left toes towards your left knee, drawing the left outer ankle into your right top of thigh? Nice. Take 2 more breath cycles here. At the end of this exhalation, gently release the hands. Draw the right foot to the floor, draw the left foot to the floor. Again, just momentarily pause. From here, let's draw both knees into our chest. Draw your hands to the inner edges of your thighs. Grab the outer edges of your feet. Press the soles of the feet together first so your tukka stays rooted. And then some of you will open to Ananda Balasana, happy baby. And you just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe. And if you're staying in stillness, you stay in stillness. If you're rocking a little bit, you rock. If you're trying to straighten your legs, you straighten your legs. But I encourage you to notice first what signals the body is sending to the brain and react to those first. Okay. Very gently, if you're in movement, come to stillness. Let's draw our knees back to the center. Lower your feet to the floor, hip distance apart. Okay, your choice of supine twist. Legs are first going to go to the left. So you might need to scoot your butt to the right first and then let the legs fall to the left. But if you want to do legs stacked on top of each other, if you want to do the figure 4 cross, if you want to do the bottom leg straight, whatever works for you, but I want you to take a few breaths in a supine twist that is supportive to you. And then again, find that elongation through your spine first. You scoop the belly and notice if that allows you to rotate a little bit more towards the right. Pause and breathe. I see you, Steve. Awesome. Next in breath, go ahead and come back through center. Uncross the legs. And then just notice the sides. Notice the difference before you switch sides. And when you're ready, you try everything on the other side. So maybe it's the same twist, maybe it's a different twist, but you're letting the legs fall towards the right, maybe the gaze towards the left, maybe scooping the belly so you can rotate more of the rib cage to the left. Just 3 or 4 more breaths here. On your next in breath, gently come back through center. And let's set ourselves up for Shavasana. So you might want to do Supta Baddha Konasana for your Shavasana. You might want to do straight up Shavasana for your Shavasana. If you're near a wall, legs up the wall might feel really super amazing to you, but I want you to make sure you're supported, where the body really feels like it can let go, where the breath feels like it can deepen, where the mind feels like it can quiet. So you just do whatever you need to do to make that happen for you right now to the best of your ability. Oh, yeah. And as you find yourself in this final shape, again, take the opportunity to fidget and settle until you're comfortable. And then we're going to complete with taking a big breath in, followed by a big breath out. And of course, all good things come in threes. So you're going to do that again. Big breath in. Yeah. And third one at your own. After you've taken your third exhalation, I want you to just allow your awareness to rest wherever your breath is most alive for you. So for some of us, that may be our chest. We might feel the rise and the fall of the inhalation and the exhalation. For some of us, we might feel it at the belly, feeling the belly lift and the belly fall. Some of us, we might be aware of it at the nostrils, the sense of coolness coming in and heat going out. Wherever the breath is most accessible for you, with as little effort, you just allow your awareness to rest right. And anytime you happen to notice that maybe the mind has wandered around or away from the breath, I encourage you to celebrate that observation and then gently guide yourself back to the breath, back to this internal drishti, as it were. I'll go ahead and leave you here with you and your breath for the next few moments, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. If there's any part of you longing to linger in this shape, by all means, please stay here. When you feel like movement or maybe life are calling you, allow that call to be answered gently, allowing movement to re enter the physical form in whatever way feels supportive to you. Again, if you're in movement, allow the movement to gently bring you to your right side. If you're in stillness, stay in stillness. So we're going to pause on our right side for about 5 to 10 breaths. Apparently, and this is one of the other things I learned from Sierra Hollister this week, by staying on our right side, it's strengthening our heart. She usually seems to have us do it in Indalasana with the whole spine being straight, but I'm sure it's okay if our knees are bent as well. And just take your breath cycles there. And after you've taken your 5 to 10 breaths, you'll start to gently roll your chest more towards the floor, press into your top hand, and bring your spine up to a vertical position. When you are vertical, again, I encourage you to do as we did before. So really take the opportunity to sit well, whether it's on a block or on a blanket or on a pillow. And once you're seated, you'll plant a hand on the heart and a hand on the chest. And you'll just take a couple of breath cycles here. I find it kind of interesting that the word present reminds me of presence, and that the best thing that we can give to anybody is our undivided attention, our presence. But how often do we find ourselves running from task to task, thinking that it's what we do more than who we are that's the gift that we can give to ourselves and give to others? So, as you're here for these last few breaths, I want you to just drink in the sense of presence, the present that you are giving to yourself, that you've been giving to yourself for this last hour or so by just being fully here and now with your breath, with your body, with each other. And notice what would happen if we could magnify that by just simply being present for as much of our lives as possible. So we'll go ahead and complete our practice with a collective breath, followed by a collective Om. Guide your hands to heart center Anjali Mudra. Really, again, press the palms into each other. Receive the weight of your thumbs into the center of your sternum, and then push your sternum back to your thumbs. Lengthen through the back of your neck so your chin drops just a bit, and then exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Om. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open to that light, to that breath, to that presence. We bow. Namaste.